Hey, what's up, folks? I got a request to explain arms, and I thought that was actually a pretty simple one, so here we go. I was a little bit surprised when I got this request because arms is actually something that I don't think about a whole lot, and I think that's maybe that's the secret is that when you're drawing arms, the arm itself is actually not all that important. The larger issue when you're talking about doing a character drawing is the head and the face and the torso, and if you're going to do a full body thing, the pelvis also enters into that, but and then the hands, and then the rest of what you're doing is really just trying to make those things talk to each other. So when I get masses on the table, and we're just talking about torsos and hands and arms and faces today, and we'll leave the legs out of it, but you have your you have your head block, right? Which usually starts as a circle, and then you put a cross on there to kind of denote where the center of the face is, where the eyes are going to go. Of course, you have thirds of the face. So there you go. I got kind of a head going on there. Here's the general shape of the torso. Let's throw a rib cage, pectorals, get the ribs going. All right, and then, of course, the most important probably part of the torso when you're thinking about arms is the shoulder. So we'll make sure we have a nice ball for the shoulder here. If you're familiar with my art, you know that I'm super stylized. So this is not exactly going to be the best anatomy lesson for you, but we at least get some functional stuff going here. So you've got the torso, we've got the shoulder, and I'll just clean it up a little bit so you can see my shoulder. And then the hand, right? And I'm not going to worry too much about the actual posing of the hand. We're really just kind of demonstrating how these things work together. Okay, so now we've got somebody reaching towards the camera, clearly, yes? So, he doesn't have an arm, and he doesn't really need one. I actually recently designed a character for somebody that doesn't have arms. They have hands and they have a torso, but their arms are intangible, like Phantom Limb from Venture Brothers. And so you can make those kinds of things look very natural because the arm follows the logic of the way you position the hands and the torso. So when you are drawing an arm, draw the shoulder, you want to draw the hand, and then the arm just fills in the logic of the space that you've left behind. So, in a case like this, you kind of need to know how an arm is put together. So, take your anatomy chart out. If you don't have an anatomy chart, Google arm anatomy. It's what I do like 18 times a day. And you should be able to get, I'm just going to do it from off the dome here. But again, we're foreshortening and kind of using the old Frank Frazetta bag of bowling balls look. And I got a really thick brush going so that I can be very gestural. Clean it up. The arm is kind of like every part of the human body. The arm is weird and put together in kind of a bizarre way. One of the common pieces of drawing advice you get is, study anatomy, study anatomy, study anatomy. It's like, what the hell does that mean? And let me tell you, for me, as somebody who kind of learned it on their own, it means looking up anatomy charts and just learning how the various parts of the body are put together. And sometimes I pay more attention to that than other times. But the chest and the shoulder are all kind of interconnected. Everything on the body is connected to something else, right? And the muscles kind of tuck under one another. Great, so here, we have somebody who is, let's get a beefy boy here. And if you're here, you're probably a self-taught person like myself, so you know that there's a little bit of play that comes in making any illustration, where you kind of just mess with it till it looks right. But this isn't bad already. And then once you've kind of got your basic setup going on here, now we carry the rest of it through with shading. And here is kind of a really easy way to do that, putting a new layer on and just blacking the whole thing out. My imaginary light source is up here in this example. When I talk about the bag of bowling balls, and everybody kind of handles the way they do their style a little bit differently. That's how style works. But a lot of my characters are very spherical. They're made of balls, right? And that's plays a lot into the way that the light catches these characters. Everybody's going to do this a little bit differently. Obviously, you don't have to do shadows the way that I do. This is just my pencil sketch stuff. Obviously my ink stuff looks considerably different. Don't worry about your style looking like mine. Just think about the fundamentals. So we go back to thinking about the arm, which is the reason that we're here today. And as a result, we're going to kind of ignore the rest of this dude. Like I said, the arm is the answer to how the hand talks to the shoulder. There's a lot of instances where I will tell people that you need to not be precious about something. And arms is kind of case in point, an area where you really need to not be precious about your arms. And what I mean by that is to say that the arm is the least important thing that you're drawing when you're drawing an arm. The most important things, of course, being the hand and the shoulder, with the face probably also entering into the equation somehow, especially if you're doing it in kind of perspective like this. Remember that you're drawing a character, and when you're drawing a character, you need to be thinking about what they're thinking, how they're interacting with the world. You're not just creating something that exists in a static bucket, right? You're creating something that is interacting with the world around it. So we interact with our hands, we interact with our expressions, and we interact with the way that we pose and posture. But when you are reaching out for something to grab it, I want my pen. I reach out and I grab it with my hand, right? Now you look at my frame here. You can't even see my arm. It doesn't matter, right? My face looks at the pen. That's what I want to grab. My hand, you can see it interacting with the pen and flipping it all around. And the arm is just positioned the way that an arm is going to be positioned to get that hand into that spot. A lot of times you can't even see it. But if you were to do like an extreme perspective kind of thing, you just have to not. If you're like, well, I really want to show off the biceps, I really want to show off the forearms, I really want to show off what they're wearing on the arm. Okay, do a glamour shot then, of a full-page glamour shot of your character, and make sure that the arm is in frame. But if you're talking about interactive things, if you're talking about a character doing character actions, don't worry about how much of the arm you're getting in the frame. In a lot of cases, you're going to get very little, or even none. And so that's just something that is important to kind of keep in mind and put yourself in check. I know that the inclination that we have a lot of times as artists is you want to show as much of the character as possible, as often as you possibly can. And that's something you should probably break yourself of. Just because it's going to be really tedious for you to draw that character in so many different poses in so many different places. And also just because it's not a good use of your time. You need to establish what somebody looks like visually But after that, people kind of learn what the character looks like, right? They learn what the character looks like, and they learn what's happening off the screen. They fill in the blanks with their brains. They don't need you to be drawing it every step of the way. So be kind to yourself, right, when you're doing this, and be understanding, and cut yourself a break, right? All right. Just going to throw a little bit more polish on here. Here's an important thing is fingernails. Show you what direction the hand is pointed in. Can't see these fingernails, so you know that the fingers are curled under. But yeah, now that we've got the drawing here, let's just break it down really quickly. So the first thing we drew was the head and the torso, right? And the hand. And then the shoulder. And when we're talking about the arm, the shoulder and the hand are the most important things. And from there, you're just connecting the two. That's the ultra simplified breakdown, right? Is just the shoulder, the hand, and then the arm is what's going in the middle there. So, you've got to know a little bit about your arm anatomy and the way that your arm is facing, and the arm looks differently if it's posed this way than if it's posed this way. But if your arm was posed this way, you would know, because the hand would be tilted up. So you get your bicep in there, you get your tricep in there, you get your elbow in there, you get the forearm, the muscles that I don't remember the name of off the top of my head right now, and I'm not going to look them up. The forearm muscles. And get the plane at the top of the hand, and that's really it. That's all it takes. It's quick. It's something that is going to get quicker the more you do it. And like anything in art, the more you do it, the more you understand it, the better you're going to be able to communicate it, and the faster you're going to be able to draw it. So it all comes down to practice. It just comes with getting familiar with these things. It's not magic. It's not arcane in any way. It's just hard work. And I know you can do it, and I will look forward to seeing you again when we break down something else. All right, thanks a lot.